they do, because they're wearing multiple hats and they have very limited time and they want to focus on very specific things at start. So they tend to put corporate governance on the back end. Later on, when they are growing and they're looking for global international expansion and they're looking for investors, they start to realize that we actually need to focus on corporate governance in order to secure finances. Otherwise, they tend to be looked like at a more risky asset to invest in or a risky company to invest in.
Thank you for that, Dr. Faisal. Moving on to Mr. Talal. So you've utilized social media to educate and build a community around trading. What strategies can entrepreneurs employ to leverage digital platforms for brand building and customer engagement without compromising authenticity?
السلام عليكم. يعني قبل ما ابدا بقول لكم المحاضره شكلكم جد انا خايف منكم جد والله اسف. Yeah, about the social media, I think the reason why I started my company, Markets, in 2010, we believe in 2010 that there was a lack of awareness, especially here in our region, in GCC countries. There were no company or broker gives the people or the audience enough education about the financial markets and the mechanism of financial markets. And when we started the company, I used to work in 3 companies before I started BI Markets. So I know that the audience here, especially in Kuwait and the GCC countries, they need more information on how to start trading, how to manage their account, how to use money management and risk management in the market. And everyone outside the market, they feel like it's very hard to get enough education. So I decided to start very easy and humble. So I said we did collaborations with a lot of so many universities in, for example, Alexandria University in Egypt, ACK in Kuwait, Bahrain, Ahliya Bahrain in Bahrain. So many universities to teach the students how to open their account and start trading and get the enough education about the market. So after that, after I have the enough information, the enough data to share the awareness of the market, I decided to make it easy, humble in social media. So I opened the social media and teach everyone this is the market. It's very easy, but it's risky. This is how to open a trade. This is how to close.
So using your social media as a way to educate and hopefully attract then customers to your platforms. I want to open this next question to the panel. In the context of the MENA region, what unique challenges do you think entrepreneurs are facing, and how can they change or turn these challenges then into opportunities?
I believe part of the equation is the entrepreneur. He needs to see the journey with uncertainty. So basically, when he develops an idea or a product or any services you would like to provide, the DNA of the journey is to live with uncertainty. So if there's one simple equation or a secret sauce to success your journey, is you need to sleep and wake up in the morning and welcome uncertainty. That's basically one of the main challenges that entrepreneurs need to accept and digest if they're thinking to move forward, creating a journey in the innovation industry.
And to add to that, I don't know if you're aware of Hofstede's cultural scale, but he talks about the uncertainty of awakenings, which we don't like in this part of the world, especially in Kuwait.
No one likes uncertainty, but it's really like, I don't want to give it any other phrase. It's the secret sauce of the game. That's the name of the game. Is to basically
embrace it.
It's to welcome uncertainty. You know, if you have a day that's smooth day, cool, no problems, you need to make sure that there is something wrong with this day, like not happening. It's not the other way around. So that's one of the things that, but it pays off a lot, and it's very rewarding journey, to be honest. Just to elaborate more in this journey, I started my career, especially after graduating from IE Business School, and investing in companies, like the gentleman you just said at the beginning, with KFH Capital, Rasamil Investment Company. These are a brick and mortar decision, like show me your P&L account, growth, investment, I'll give you the check or not. Maybe Mr. Ahmed can a little bit elaborate on this. I'm a big fan of you, by the way, on the TV, but when it comes to the innovation, and with what basically we're doing with the Sabah Ahmed Center of Giftedness and Creativity, this center is unique in the country, to be honest. And his focus, and I think each country needs to have a similar center to Sabah Ahmed. Why? Because this center is not focusing on the P&L account. So the P&L account will leave it to the sharks, will leave it to the investment companies, will leave it to the venture capital, all this kind of stuff. This center focuses on the actual journey, on the founder, and on the product that he's trying to build. And it's fully supported that to support his journey, we don't want to feel the innovators or the entrepreneurs, he's alone during this journey. But once he's solid, he's equipped at least 70–80% of what he's or she trying to do. It starts to make sense for everyone. Then our role as a center is finished. Then it can go to the second part of the funnel or the second part of the equation. So, so that's basically just to elaborate more on how the innovation and how uncertainty is welcomed and how it's the secret sauce of the journey.
Thank you for that.
Okay, so actually you said it all, you both said it all. So again, embrace challenge and be sure that all the great things are done with shaking hands. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I'll add on to that. So some of the common challenges I do tend to see with entrepreneurial ventures in the region. One would be around human capital. The other one would be around raising finances. So if you say today you wanted to, let's take one example, you want to open a tech company in Kuwait, you may find a bit of a challenge in finding the human capital necessary. It's not impossible, but it's a challenge to fully occupy all of the positions to run that tech company. So human capital has been one of the things that we should continue to develop on, and something that we do see in Kuwait is they try to look for these gaps, and then they should align, and they do align, what kind of scholarships or opportunities they want to send the students to go study in. So that's a good strategy, and it provides the opportunity to create these jobs that are needed. That's one of them. Another one would be, I would say, and this may be something after COVID, is just simply raising finances. Finances is a challenge. It's not as easy as it once was. You see in Egypt now you have poverty. That's an opportunity. They saw that, they're like, okay, we'll capitalize on that. In UAE, they have now money. So these opportunities came to rise because of the challenges that were in front of them. So these are two, I would say that
I think our generation, we were very lucky in Kuwait because we got opportunity to, we got the encouraged from the government. I can remember بادر تحدى the government pushed us to start companies, and because of these campaigns, I think we got a lot of big companies in the region, Talabat, Flower, Carriage, and so many others. What Mr. Reda is doing now, it's continuing this journey to help the entrepreneurs to start doing amazing products.
I definitely agree. I think, we've been, especially in Kuwait, we've been just so lucky to have so many resources at our disposal, be it the center, be it funding from the government, and even though we're probably one of the smallest countries in the region, we've kind of gotten the reputation for our entrepreneurial skills as well. Moving on to the next question, with regards to this trend of sustainable products or environmentally friendly business practices, personally I see a lot of emphasis when it comes to our research. More and more publishers are wanting us to contribute towards the United Nations SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. What's your feedback with regards to investors prioritizing more sustainable businesses? Do you think that's caught on in this part of the world? Or do you think we're still sort of in the infancy stages of more sustainable business practices?
I think it's a Panadol for the investors. Okay. It's not a steroids, for example, or an actual its own shelf product. To be honest, in a nutshell, I did not see in my personal experience. The gentleman here might have a different set of view, but I did not see like an investor while he's checking his term sheets to invest in any company, like how this company treating the environment in the world, like, or the immersion consumption carbon or whatever. I have not seen that. Sustainability is a big issue. Like they need to see the sustainability business model is there, it's scalable, it's all this kind of stuff. But in terms of environment impact and all the SDGs of the World Bank and stuff like that, personally, I did not see any investors that putting these as a pillar in order to sign the check.
Anyone else?
So the key here, I think, is sustainability. If you're going to approach it, needs to follow the company's strategy as well. And when we talk about strategy, is if you're going to put sustainability as part of the strategy, it will allow you to attract investors that are also looking to invest in this. Two examples in the UAE could be Muslim with renewable energy, and then the other one could be BIA as well with waste management. They were able to attract investors that had the same mission and the same strategy that they wanted. And so they utilize sustainability as a strategy. I think using it just standalone, that could be CSR. If you're using it just as a standalone, it's an expense. It's a CSR expense that you want to maybe use as part of your PR strategy or your marketing strategy. But if you want to gain like financial incentive out of it, you need to make sure it's aligned with what you're doing strategically as a whole company.
Mr. Ahmed?
So honestly, I fully agree here that anything has to be translated to numbers. If it's not translated to numbers, so it's not sustainable. And claiming that you're going to help the environment and help this, as long as this can be translated to numbers, and I have the off-taker, they're going to take this portion of the company at the right price because it's claiming sustainability for a certain reason. So I don't think that anything else is not sustainable.
I have a question to the audience. Like, if you go to the market and you find a good quality T-shirt, 50 kg, and another similar quality T-shirt with, for example, 2 kg or 3 kg, but the 50 kg T-shirt says like environmentally friendly. and the 2KB t-shirt says just a normal t-shirt. What t-shirt you would be looking like? Being honest with each one of you need to be honest by yourself. Who's the 50 KB group here? Okay, who's the 2 KB group here? Thank you so much.
Well, that's a bit of a severe example, but research has actually shown people are willing to pay more for more sustainable and more environmentally friendly products. So I think we are kind of lagging in this part of the world when it comes to more sustainable practices.
Actually, I agree. I don't agree with the example. We're magnifying the difference just but actually I agree. The end client, as long as the end client, I'm convincing him that what I do is going to help the environment and this is going to be monetized in a way, then I'm happy with it. But from the investment perspective, the investors are shrewd. They do not look for anything at the number and the opportunity cost. But the customer is a bit different because I can buy the t-shirt at 2.5 KD instead of 2 KD. So which is 25% more, which is 20% more, 25%. So I can do this 25% more. I have no issue with this as a customer. So if I am able to do this in the income statement and do it on the bottom line, this extra half a dollar for the investor, then I'm happy to take it as an investor.
The next question, I think, really depends on. Mr. Talal, would you like to?
Talking about the trends, I think before the panel, me and Mr. Beda was discussing the World Government Summit in Dubai last week, and they were talking about the ChatGPT and the AI and the use of AI and how, as an entrepreneur, how you should be ready to adopt all the new technologies and use them to sustain your business. This is, I think, a good advice that should be in mind for any entrepreneur.
Thank you for that, Mr. Talal. Moving on to the next question, and I think this really, I think from Egypt, you might have a different response in comparison to Kuwait, but how crucial is it for entrepreneurs to have a global vision from day one? You're sitting down, you're trying to gain investors. I think with the Kuwaiti market, because we're such a small country, maybe not so much globalization, but some sort of a regional expansion is kind of on our minds from day one. Maybe with Egypt, it might be a little different.
I honestly feel they are all the same.
Okay.
You have to have a hairy, bold targets and goals. If you don't have it, you have to have it from day one. And you have to have something that hairy, bold targets in your strategy. It has to be something that you're going to achieve in 10, 15 years time. And you have to have a vision that you will never achieve. So you have to have a sky for whatever dream you have. You have to have both in any country, in any small city. You have to have it. Why? Because you're an achiever and you don't have the hairy, bold targets in your strategy and you don't have the vision, so you're going to get bored when you reach your targets. If you have the smaller targets, you're going to be bored at a certain point in time. You're going to lose interest when you achieve whatever you want to achieve. So you have to have always the big ones.
You should constantly be able to expand.
Scalable expansion, and you have to have your goal that is huge. And of course, you're going to have the different milestones to be able to measure day to day, year to year, month to month. Are you close to your targets or not?
What about from a Kuwaiti perspective? Do you think globalization or expanding on a regional scale, how important is that for entrepreneurs to be able to communicate?
I'll answer this. I'm actually curious about you because you actually did it yourself. So, can I go after you? Yeah.
For me, I was searching when I started BI markets. I was searching about realized that the best and the safest and the trusted regulator is the FCA in the UK. So I searched about the best, we had a list of the best companies, brokers in the UK, and I bring one of them to Kuwait, because I was thinking that the brokers and the brokerage system in Kuwait at that time wasn't good enough. So I started with a company called World Financial Markets in 2012. After 2-3 years, I reached the maximum target and goals for the company, and then 2 years later they offered me to get the whole GCC countries, because we reached their target and their numbers, and we become the best partner in their history. And then I worked with them for 13 years to do that, and honestly, in numbers, I think they made a profit and they made success from this partnership. But as an entrepreneur, I think I am the maker of the success and the profit, because I learned a lot from this partnership, one of the biggest companies in the world.
So I totally agree with you when you talk about the point of scalability. So if you're an entrepreneur trying to start a business, I think one of the first things you should ask yourself is, how scalable is this kind of business? If it's not scalable, then you're not really going to go global. So I think that's the starting point of figuring out if you want to go global. Want is important. Many entrepreneurs end up starting a business and don't want to go global. They're not looking for a very large company. They're looking for something that can sustain themselves, and that's what they want, fine, so be it. But if you want to go global, you need to make sure that the product or service that you're developing is scalable. After that, while trying to scale and go global, you need to do proper market research. You're going to have to do proper cultural research, regulatory research, economic research, to see if the product or service that you're trying to develop fits within the area you're trying to enter as well. An example that I think they pulled it off very nicely early on here, which was a Kuwaiti company, Aviat. Aviat did an excellent job. They started the product, they found a very big gap in the market for Kuwait that brings in all together the home building experience, let's say, in under one roof. After that, they saw that, you know what, even regionally, this gap exists. So they already had a plan, a 5-year plan, a 6-year plan of exactly the region they were going to go, Kuwait, Saudi, Qatar, حتى الإمارات, they had it and they knew the locations they wanted at that point in time. And then they were able to execute based on that. So they had their international expansion plan was set years before they even implemented it and started it. So I think that scalability again and proper market research will allow you to expand globally properly.
I couldn't agree more with what the gentleman here is saying. The point is, in my personal opinion, there is an equation. The equation is, to me, you need to have a big market, you need to be scalable, that's the general equation. And the other side of the equation, there is a desire. I have a lot of examples of Kuwaiti founders. They've done companies, organic growth, no investment needed. They haven't approached any investors. They're growing year on year, and they're scoring 6 digits on a yearly basis, and they're happy with that. And I have the same model from the same industry, another company, another founder. He's not happy with this desire. He needs to go global, international. Every day and every week you find him in a suitcase, in an airplane, jumping from market to different markets. So it depends on the desire. But the equation, the formal equation is, if you have a product, you need to be scalable, and it's not supposed to be directed for a small market. It needs to be like scalable for other markets. That's what I believe, and what I saw in my previous experience.
Thank you for that response. And just moving on then to the last question of this session. Can you identify any trends or any sectors that entrepreneurs have been entering since after COVID? Maybe something more.
Can I use ChatGPT to answer this?
Just from your networking and from, meeting people in this industry, is there any sort of emerging trends where you're like, okay, again, COVID was a challenge, but I'm sure entrepreneurs saw some sort of opportunities from those or from that time?
Previously, in my case, we used to invest, for example, we invested in a company called POS Rocket. It got acquired by Foodex in Saudi Arabia. From these models, for example, or examples, we used to invest in SaaS model, e-commerce, all this kind of stuff. When COVID came in place, then we start realizing how important to develop product or services, for example, in the medical industry, or in the logistics industry, for example. In my personal opinion, after COVID, for example, now, if you ask, for example, Ahmad, my colleague here with me, in the center, any innovator who's coming with an idea, or he has a small services or a product that he would like to develop, we only welcome product that have a scientific methodology behind it. I know it's complicated, but that's the mandate of the center. And looking at the mandate, you will find a lot of examples in Kuwait you might heard of, but you don't know, like the center have been like playing a big roles in their journey. We have doctors who created knees, replacing knees in the market, and that's like really crucial. And if it comes to the investor side, the knee operation costs like 15 to 20,000 KD. That's almost $70,000 in a single operation. So I want you to imagine how scalable is that business. But it has a scientific methodology behind it. Another doctor is creating a new plant to solve the disc issue in the backbone, for example. And it's worldwide, and it's recognized internationally, and it's patented in the US PTO office. And also the cost of operation per patient is like an enormous amount of time. Another lady, like just recently trying to produce a portable MRI device. So we all know we all know the MRI process. You want to go to the hospital, it's a big machine, noisy, you need to take an appointment. She's trying to disrupt this industry by creating an MRI portable device. These kind of examples, definitely they will have a destination in our centers. That does not mean that if someone with a fintech idea or an e-commerce idea is not good. No, that is just not within our mandate in the center. But definitely after COVID, there is much more needed product, services that's coming out, and the industries that has a scientific methodology.
The medical field.
Not only medical, engineering, any industries or any product that has a scientific methodology behind it, whether it's engineering or medical or environment, so
I believe that the future is about technology. Everything in the future, I think, will be related to the AI and the use of the AI. For example, we're using in our companies now the AI for canteen, for example. We're analyzing the inventory, the sales, using the AI. In BI markets, we're doing the same. We're running a digital campaign on social media using the AI. Last week I had a meeting with a guy from Kuwait. He's using AI to do the media content. And he showed us a video for a panel discussion, a podcast created by the AI. And the people wasn't in the same room. So I think the future, it will be 100% in the AI. We should know that, and we should be ready to do it.
I totally agree with what you're saying. Digital transformation seems to be the key right now, especially after Corona. Whether it's within e-commerce, when you're talking about health, a lot came out within telehealth as well. So digital transformation is big. And then I can't agree more with AI. Also, we partnered with OpenAI in AUK to help our students, for example, in the entrepreneurship courses. We help the students realize how can you use this product, how can you use this thing to actually reduce your startup costs. There's a lot that you can do. And it's just going to keep on going more and more. So I definitely agree with you in the form of ChatGPT or other even AI tools. These are kind of the future right now. And mainly in the form of how can you start up at a cheaper rate? How can you run even more efficiently when you finish the startup phase? So yeah.
So I don't, honestly, I do not see, I see that the education, online education, and online healthcare is on the rise after the COVID. If you asked, if I was here 100 years ago, and you asked me to bet, or to go short, and to go long on what exactly, I will definitely, if I go back 100 years, I will go short on horses. I believe 100 years ago there were 20 million horses. Today there's 7 million horses only, from 4 to 7. So I will definitely go short on horses. And I will definitely go long on cars. If you ask me today, the easier is going short. The more difficult, the more complicated is going long on something. So your question is, you're gonna go long on what after the government? I'm not sure. But I will definitely go short on education, conventional education. I will definitely go short on conventional healthcare.
When you say conventional?
Conventional means that I do not think that you need, in the coming foreseen future, to go to the doctor anymore. I don't think that you need to spend, anyone need to go and spend 2 months in the hospital. With all the wearables, invisible, all of these technology, I don't think that you need to spend. I do not think that you need to build more hospitals with bed capacity anymore. So definitely I will push work on this.
Conventional education.
Conventional education, going to school every day from 8 to 3, I will definitely push work on this.
You might be in trouble,
networking.
Dr. Faisal. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry?
We teach at university, so we might be in trouble then in the future if your prediction is right.
Well, so prepare yourself for the challenge. No, universities are, I believe universities are being a bit even more dangerous than schools. Okay, so I believe the online education and giving also what's today happening in the world and the new administration in the US, they're going to lead this in the coming 4 years. They're going to push it very, 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 very fast, exponentially. So I will push work on education, conventional education, and conventional healthcare. That's for sure.
Thank you to our panelists for a really great discussion. And thanks again, thanks everybody. See you.